All right, we did a Dragon Ball stream on Saturday, and I figured we should do one today as well, because I did think this was an interesting topic, which was that of Super Saiyan 3. So I always like that form, just the way it looks, and the fact that it's probably the most outright striking design out of any of the Super Saiyan forms, besides the fourth one. You think about it, most of them are just hair color changes, and sometimes they'll add some lightning if it's the second form. Uh, and I noticed only when I came online that there were, very large segments of people who had a problem with it, which, took me by surprise because when you're, what's a good way of saying it, not connected to people on the internet, and you mostly deal with a story or a show by virtue of watching it, you don't really get to see the reaction by other people to certain story choices that are made. At one point, I was going to do a video about the legacy of the Boo saga, and I was going to point out that in Super, it seems like everything that was introduced in that particular part of the story has been like tossed to the wayside. Like if a character was introduced in the Boo saga, they don't get used that much in Super, like with Goten and Trunks. Or if a transformation was introduced at that point, it doesn't get used that often. So like fusions barely show up in Super, at least on the part of the heroes. Murdzamasu is the exception, and Super Saiyan 3 shows up like twice in that show to get smacked up by Beerus, and then they, have a cameo at the Tournament of Power. And it sucks too because one of the things I really liked about the form is that it's pretty much the only transformation besides the that buff one that Trunks used against Cell that actually has a built-in flaw, something that makes it unstable to where you can't just, there's no drawbacks at all. So I thought that added more tension to the story. Like, hurry up and take this person out before you get tired and can't use this form anymore. Everybody likes transformations with no drawbacks. Let's not have any added stakes. Oh, it's gonna be like those other streams where you make a stream to talk about something and then people don't show up, or if they do show up, they don't say anything about it. So we'll find out if that's going to be the case here. Like I said, the Boo saga is just a really polarizing period in that show for me. Why do that when you take time to test the enemy, then complain they have no stamina? Yeah, they. When you can take the time to test the enemy, then complain they have no stamina. Isn't that kind of like what they do with the transformations, where every time some villain is powering up, they just let them transform. They don't ever try to stop them. So we're supposed to believe as the audience they're suspended in disbelief. They're like so scared that they can't move. Like every time Frieza transforms, they just sit back, let him transform. Cell transforms, just sit back, let him transform. Except I'll admit that at least with that one, they tried to stop him from transforming by preventing the androids from getting absorbed. So they're a little more proactive with that. That's one of the biggest problems with the villains in that show, that like none of them have time limits on their power, with the exception of Super Boo when he absorbed Goten and Trunks. So when he was in his what's that form called, the Boo Tanks form, and he like diffuses to get weaker with the Piccolo form, the one that has the cape. Like none of the villains have time limits. They all just are powerful at all times, and there's nothing you can do except get as strong as them through some magic. It's called plot convenience. Well, that's why I like the third one, Super Saiyan 3, because seem to add some more stakes to the show in a non-artificial manner because overusing energy was like talked about during the Cell Saga with the those ascended transformations. And the idea of Super Saiyan forms with drawbacks came from that time period as well. So I thought Super Saiyan 3 was really an analogous of that. Yeah, Trunks actually did his best to stop Cell mid trans. Well, that's why I didn't count Cell among the three. No, the Buhan one is the worst because it's like Gohan watched Piccolo and Gotenks get absorbed, and then as he's looking for this earring, he's not trying to see if there's any more pieces of Buu going around. So he's like, whatever, I'll just look around. Oh no, this thing has me. They made him a complete idiot because he watched them get absorbed, and then he's in the same area that they got absorbed in, but he's not going to look to see if Buu has any more of his pieces around him. Buu Saga Gohan is just the worst. You spend all that time with that character training just for that to be his fate, for him to be a power up for a villain. I love how the main characters will watch the villain get stronger and then act surprised when they get wrecked. Yeah, it's this weird thing. If you notice, it's kind of similar to the and what else am I gonna think about? Like when you watch the original Dragon Ball, because transformations aren't really a thing in that show besides the Great Ape form that Goku has and the giant form that Piccolo Jr. has. It's really apparent when you get to Z that people are just transforming over and over, and they're just like standing around and not doing anything. Like whatever. And then when the villain is way stronger, oh my god, he's so powerful. If only we could have stopped this or prevented it. Hell, even in GT, when Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta were gonna fuse, Omega Shenron was like, "I'm not gonna let you." Like that was smart. Because every time somebody wants to transform, everybody just stands around and watches. Now, I would like to see more of that, where someone's trying to transform, but the villain or the protagonist is stopping them from being able to, or is attempting to stop them. It's even crazier because in the manga, when Goku first transforms, it's literally just one page. Like you just and then it's there. But in the show, it's like 2 or 3 whole minutes. So the manga is a lot more realistic in terms of just why he would be allowed to assume this transformation that potentially could overpower Frieza without Frieza doing anything about it. Yeah, James, I'm no longer going to boycott your channel or your video because I went and was leaked your top 10 animes by Sony, and they've had Dragon Ball at number 6. So we're gonna let you that one slide because I never said it was the best one, but it has to be in your top 10. So knowing that it is, we're gonna let you off the hook. A lot of people were really worried that you didn't have it in your top 10. Yeah, and we saw it in there, so it's all right. The boycott has ended. I like that Super Saiyan 3 gave us a whole new transformation, and I got to see Goku change into a completely different person. Yeah, the way it looks is great. I just hate how it's used in the story. Because if you think about it, it's the only form that is supposedly able to beat the current main villain of an arc that doesn't actually get to do it. Like Super Saiyan beat Frieza, Super Saiyan 2 beat Cell, and then Super Saiyan 3 can beat Fat Boo, but then it just doesn't, he doesn't use it to take him out because he wants to give the kids a turn. And then it's really left ambiguous as to whether or not the form can take out Kid Buu. So that's really my issue with it. Like every time it's used, it just It's never able to pull off anything other than the last movie, Wrath of the Dragon, with Dragon Fist. That's the only time that form actually gets to be the hero for a day. And it's really the first one of the numbered forms that just comes out of nowhere. Like you have Goku and Vegeta fight with the Majin Vegeta stuff, uh, and it's supposed to be this big emotional battle where Vegeta is finally caught up to his rival, and then you find out Goku had this form that made him infinitely stronger in his back pocket the whole time, which makes him look even worse as a protagonist because he supposedly is concerned about the people of Earth. But instead of taking out the villain who poses a direct threat to them, he's going to sit here and spar with his little buddy. Watch a different. Yeah, well, I watched One Piece. How many do I have to see? I've seen a whole bunch of Western cartoons. Super Saiyan 3 is strong enough to go toe-to-toe with Janemba, yet can't beat Fat Boo. This is what I mean by the writers fluctuating power levels for plot convenience. Well, that was why on Saturday I discussed how insane it is that people will actually start telling you about, oh, this character can't get any stronger, and then you watch them take a transformation and make it strong enough to fight this person, not strong enough to beat this person. They act like the show isn't being written by someone who is using forms for the sake of plot convenience. So the only reason Super Saiyan 3 couldn't beat Janemba was because they wanted to suck off Gogeta in his the film debut. So they had to have that form not be able to pull it off. It's the same thing in the second Broly movie where it's like, oh, we're getting beat up by Broly. Let's not turn into Gotenks and end this in 5 seconds. Let's just stay and get smacked up. Goku will just spare the villain because he wants to reform him in reality so they can fight again. Yeah, they started using that trope a little too ridiculously for me. Where every villain gets spared. Try to do that with Frieza. See, Frieza really is the start of that getting ridiculous. Because with most of the villains up until that point, they never really did anything to Goku personally. Like Vegeta, when they met on Earth, hadn't done anything to him. It was Nappa that killed everybody. So now you've got this person who killed your entire race, your best friend, tried to kill your son's mentor, and tried to kill your son. And I was like, oh, okay, he can stay. He can live. I'm gonna give him some energy to help him get off the planet after he's been cut in half. Hell, if you think about it, Cell was less personal for Goku than Frieza because he hadn't killed any of his friends, at least in the present timeline, anyway. No, when he did that for Kid Buu, I just lost my mind. Like this character, or at least versions of him, Super Buu killed. Like actually, that was even the more I think about it, it's even worse because Kid Buu killed both of Goku's sons. He's like, yeah, I hope you come back someday so we can fight again. The person who murdered my children. I hope you return. No, I just hate the way that character is written sometimes because they really make it seem like he doesn't care about anybody. Like they'll give an entire arc like with the King Piccolo saga dedicated to him getting revenge. And then when villains murder people he cares about, oh, I hope this person comes back and becomes stronger and I can fight them again. To hell with what they've done to me personally. I'll let you get stronger for the sake of a fair fight. Oh no, why can't I beat you? Time to spend 3 episodes getting smacked around. Oh, people used to love to do that with Dragon Ball. They're like, oh my god, Z is so long and so massive and uh It's really funny too because when Funimation first dubbed Z, they actually cut out multiple episodes. Like they merged episodes into one. So like episode 100 for us is like in the Garlic Jr. saga, when in Japan it's like right in the middle of the Goku versus Frieza fight. So they just cut out a whole bunch of stuff to, I guess, make things a little bit quicker. And people still complain about how long it is, even though what is it? Like I said, Shippuden by itself, part two of Naruto, is literally the size of the original Dragon Ball and Z combined. Now, that's the funniest thing in the world to know that that show is shorter than a lot of these other prominent animes, and they act like it's just the most massive thing in the world. It's really crazy. Let's see if I was writing anything. Somebody said on this other channel that they didn't like Gotenks getting Super Saiyan 3 because they thought it cheapened the form. I said, well, the whole point of fusions is that they're inherently stronger because they're two people combined into one. So it was entirely believable to me that he would be able to achieve some, newfound level of strength, especially since Goten and Trunks were set up as having reached levels of power that their fathers had not reached until they were adults. So, I bought entirely into the idea. I just hate that we spend that much time with that character just for him to be a power up for the villain, who isn't even the final villain, by the way. They just get rid of Super Boo. Let's go inside him to save our friends. Oh, now he's going to morph into a child version of himself. Let's leave the friends that we just saved here on this planet to get killed. I'm assuming that they want to show like Evangelion, which is just 26 episodes. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are just opposed to watching anything after it reaches a certain number of episodes. And that's actually kind of a little annoying to me because with a lot of these mangas, when they're 500, 600, 700 chapters, I don't see how they can adapt all of that in less than a couple of hundreds of episodes. I like the second Broly movie because Gohan won by himself. Yeah, I didn't really mind any of the Z films, and even though Bio Broly is supposedly considered the worst one of the original Broly trilogy, I like it the most because it's really the only time in anything after the Cell Saga that they actually use 18 in a starring manner, where she's not just part of the group. I just realized that Goku also helped Cell with the Sensu Bean. Yep. That still isn't as bad as the thing with Kid Buu, because again, Cell didn't kill anybody that Goku cared about. Frieza literally murdered his entire race, killed his best friend. Oh, here you go. Here's some energy. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Well, I know who thought it was a good idea. Toriyama. Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks couldn't even beat Vegeta base form in Super. Like, what? Well, that's a big part of the reason why I don't like that the fusions have the. It's like with the Potara fusion, the whole thing about that was, oh, it's supposed to be permanent, and once you do it, you can never unfuse. And then in Super, they're like, nah, just kidding. There is no difference. The only difference between Vegito rather, and Gogeta is the clothes. Wait, if you notice, Gogeta in the Broly movie is different from Gogeta in Fusion Reborn, where he's like this relaxed personality, like this calm attitude, and then in not Fusion Reborn, in the Broly movie, he acts like Vegito, where he's all cocky and ha ha ha, you can never beat me. So they're literally confirming there is no difference between Gogeta and Vegito except the way they look. Gohan and Trunks are truly wasted potential. The timelines where all the Z fighters die except Gohan and Trunks and the androids take over Earth was the best DBZ plotline. And then James says, I believe if the anime is good, people will watch it even if it's over 100 episodes. No, you'll get people to watch things that are long. It just seems really crazy that people will get mad at a show for its length, as if they only, like, one person was like, why would I watch One Piece when I can watch 10 shows that are the same amount of episodes collectively? And I was like, well, are those 10 shows automatically going to be better? Like, I'm just saying, I think it's really insane that people have those kind of, hangups. I remember with Boruto, they kept saying, wait until it gets 100 episodes and then it'll start getting good. I was like, there's no damn show I've ever heard of where you have to get to episode 100 for it to like have a jump in quality. That was the craziest thing in the world to me. Wait until this show gets 100 episodes and then it'll start getting good. In Fusion Reborn, Gogeta was a bit more serious. Yeah, he was a completely different character. In the Broly movie, he acts like Vegito. A non-binary, imagine watching Z and being happy that Trunks finally saved his timeline, and then watching Super just to find out that his timeline got wrecked by some Goku lookalike god person that killed his mom, and then after he trains for a fifth of 100 episodes, it doesn't matter, and the whole timeline gets erased. Now he has to go live in another timeline where there's two versions of him. That, if out of any character in Super, Trunks is the only one they ruined. He had this happy ending in Z, and then they brought him back to just destroy the whole thing. And they never resolved it because they didn't. They ended the show before he came back. So, Jesus. They can use Gohan as a quick plot scheme because he has a higher potential rate, so they say. You could tell after the Buu saga, they don't know what to do with Gohan. They just, like, most of the time, they don't have him in the show, or if they're alluding to him doing something important, it gets glossed over very quickly. Like, they had him absent for the whole Universe 6 tournament, including among the spectators, and you're thinking, oh my God, they're going to give him some big role in the next arc. And then what does he do in the next arc? Talk to Trunks like twice. The only arc of Super where he did anything that wasn't just standing around or whatever was the Term of the Power. Man, that is insane. That's why I fell off of DBZ after the Buu saga. What do you mean fell off of DBZ after the Buu saga? It ended after the Buu saga. We all did. We all fall off a show once it's over. I'm gonna do that technicality thing. I remember when Super first started, I had people at my school because I was in 11th or 12th. It was I think 11th grade, and they would call it DBZ Super. Like they merged the names of Z with the new show. Just Trunks' character was wasted just to suck off other character. Now they really wasted Kid Trunks because it's like you have this character whose father is stronger than him and who is always usually around, and instead of having a show where you highlight the difference of Vegeta and Kid Trunks' relationship to that of Goku and Gohan and Z, where they were barely around each other, you're like, nah, we'll just have them barely around each other as well. Gohan in Super wears a tracksuit that hasn't trained in years. I remember so many people hated that design. No, non-binary is fine. I'm just reflecting on that, like, because I remember so many people just they will not call the franchise Dragon Ball. They're just like, this is DBZ. This is the only franchise I've ever seen where like its official name isn't even believed by its own fans. Yeah, that tracksuit design got crapped on by everybody. It's weird too because when 18 had one for the tournament, nobody complained. No, the Boo Saga is just where all the bad stuff I can think of starts happening. And then with Super Saiyan 3 after the Boo Saga, every time it's used, it's to show how crappy it is. Like when Goku uses it against Baby, he still can't even fight him in his first form. So not even the Super Baby one with the yellow arm pads just gets smacked up. Then when he gets his tail back, he can stay in the form longer, and he still can't do anything to him. And then after he gets Super Saiyan 4, he never uses it again. I remember I had Budokai Tenkaichi 3, and I was so mad you couldn't play as Super Saiyan 2 Goku and GT because that's the only character that had at the time all four of the major Super Saiyan transformations. And they were like, "Nah, we're not going to let that person have them." Poor Super Saiyan 2. In a lot of ways, that form was screwed over more than many of the other ones because it doesn't get named until a subsequent arc. When characters that aren't the first person who used it, you can't even tell. It's been bypassed. So Gotenks doesn't even use it. He just goes to the third one. Says the hell with that. Which the only reason they did that is because there's like a special novelty of having Goku be the only character that uses all the forms. So even if somebody else theoretically could achieve a certain form, they won't let him get it. Or how Super Saiyan 3 was used just to show how powerful Beerus is. Yeah. And barring that one little appearance, that in the Tournament of Power, and yeah, Goku did use it in the manga to fight 17. You don't see it anymore. It's always just used as this thing to show how strong somebody else is. I remember when Rage and Blast 2 came out. Let me get this correct. I don't know if it was the second one or the first. I'm gonna hold on. Let me look it up. I don't want to say something incorrect. I just know for one of the Rage and Blast games, they gave Vegeta Super Saiyan 3, and everybody was losing their mind. And this one person I used to watch said that because they gave Broly the same form, that Vegeta looked cool and Broly looked like a piece of trash. Because they like Broly's legendary form is supposed to have this distinct monstrous look with no irises, and they kept that look for Super Saiyan 3, which is independent from the legendary form. So it should look like Broly does when he's a Super Saiyan, but it doesn't for whatever reason. Like they screwed up their own design. Well, I found that there's a manual where Super Saiyan 2 was called, again before the Buu Saga came out, Super Saiyan Grade 5. Like they weren't even going to name it the second one. And then if you play Legacy of Goku, they call it Legacy of Goku 2, Super Saiyan Rage, which is a name they later gave to that stupid form that Trunks used against Black that came out of nowhere. Let's see if I can find it. I really do like it when games give characters exclusive forms. What was it? There was one game that came out, I think it was Budokai, where there were these exclusive fusions. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Super Saiyan plot armor is the one Trunks used against Black. You know, that's the saddest part about the Goku Black saga or the Future Trunks saga in Super. Like they bring Trunks back, and then every time they do something with him, it's just aggravating as hell. Like he goes from being apparently on the level of Super Saiyan 3 Goku to being able to fight Zamasu, who's supposed to be on the same level of strength as a god in like 2 episodes or something. After training one time with Vegeta. Then he gets this random form that came out of nowhere, had no foreshadowing, just as a plot device for Goku and Vegeta to go play around in the past. No, I thought that was insane. All right, hold on, I'm looking for this. See if this form came out in this game. Because I want to make sure I'm accurate. Oh, it was the first Raging Blast where those two, yeah, where the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and Broly came from. A common theme in DBZ is Akira's making the villains ridiculously powerful so he can use the Kamehameha as a self-revolving plot armor. And Grand Zeal says, yeah, what was that? How did Trunks get God Ki infused with his Super Saiyan 2 form? The show never explained it. If you notice, all the forms in Super, with the exception of God and Ultra Instinct, you really don't see much of anything to actually explain how they were obtained or how they function differently from prior forms. Like with that Rose form that Black has, to this day, I don't know what the hell you have to do to obtain it. How is it different from just Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan? Nobody's ever explained it. But that's Super's MO, just introduce a bunch of transformations to sell toys, don't actually have them mean anything to the story. Yeah, the villains just get ridiculously powerful. And I like how after Frieza, they all have to just learn the Kamehameha wave. Cell has it, Boo has it. Man, like, what the hell? No, that was hilarious to me. They introduced all these forms because at least with Super Saiyan 3, if I can say any positive things about its usage, at least you know how it was obtained, what its drawbacks are. You know, it's been explained to some extent. A lot of these new forms don't have any type of just basic explanation for it. Like Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan literally just shows up in the movie right after the after Battle of Gods. Now the Super anime, actually, to its credit, and I really hate that show, so this is not easy for me to admit, did try to explain how they obtained the blue form, because they had some episodes showing them training, but the movies, when those came out, it literally was just, oh, here's another new form. Okay, we just got one 2 years ago, but whatever. And again, at least Super Saiyan 3 looks distinct. Like, I know some people don't like the missing eyebrows and the long hair, but at least you can tell they were thinking of something, or there was some kind of plotting that went into the way that it looked. The new forms are just recolors. So Super Saiyan Blue is literally just Super Saiyan except with blue hair. I know there's one guy, he calls it Super Saiyan Bulma. And then Super Saiyan Rose, just Super Saiyan Pink. And Ultra Instinct is Master Roshi Super Saiyan. That's old man Super Saiyan. That's senior citizen Super Saiyan. Or how Vegeta just gained Super Saiyan God powers, no Yeah, he went from never having used the first one in Battle of Gods to now being able to use the blue form for Resurrection F. We just need Rainbow Super Saiyan. Yeah, we're like every strand of hair is a different color. Like this part's red, this part's orange, this part's yellow, this part's green, this part's blue. You know, they're really turning Super Saiyan into like the Green Lantern Corps, because it used to just be the Green Lanterns and the Sinestro Corps, which are the yellow lanterns, and now it's the orange ones, the red ones, the Star Sapphires, the Black Lanterns, and apparently, if you have the rings from each core, you obtain this transformation. So that's what they're gonna do. Where like you use all the different Super Saiyans, and it just all the colors come on you. I mean, I like got the most of any of the new forms simply because they at least tried to make it look a little bit different with the red eyes, and then also getting taller and skinnier. Even though those aren't as visually distinct as Super Saiyan 4, for example, it still was an attempt to make, there be some variance in the way characters look besides, oh, my hair color is now this color. I remember Battle of Gods came out, everybody was so excited. Oh my God, the new Dragon Ball movie. Because the last new animation we had with an original story was the that Yo Son Goku and Friends Return special, which at that point was like 5 years before that. So it had been a while since we had anything new in terms of animation, and then it started this new trend of the Dragon Ball Renaissance, where all the stories are crap but the games are good. I remember someone told me that, oh, if Super wasn't made, then we wouldn't get any new Dragon Ball content. Like, really? Well, we were getting new games for years without any new shows. Like anyone that was around the early 2000s knows that at that point there was no sign of any new Dragon Ball show, and nobody cared because we were getting a new game every year. So it was still an active franchise. It just didn't have a new show. Which, I mean, that was just the state of affairs at that time. Like the only new thing we got in turn that was not a game in the gap in like that 18-year gap between, or not 18 years, GT ended in 97 or 96, and then Super started in, yeah, there was an 18-year gap between, or 16-year gap between Battle of Gods came out and when GT ended. And really the only new thing we got before Battle of Gods was that horrible Evolution movie. And it's like it was funny that everybody hated that movie. I'm like, well, you guys wanted something new. There you go. The movie was so dumb, just showing once again how Akira will make his villains ridiculously powerful. And when he writes himself into a ditch, he just makes up a new Super Saiyan form. Yeah, because people will buy it up. This is the only series I've ever seen where the way to like impress fans is to just change the protagonist's hair color, and they're like, "Oh my God!" Like I got attacked on here for not caring about Ultra Instinct when it showed up. It was like we just got a new form 3 years ago. You want another one again? I'm telling you, if Super didn't end in 2018, we would have had a new form by now. Because at the rate they were introducing them, I'm entirely confident of that. Yeah, we still might get a new form with the granola crap. That Dragon Ball Evolution movie was Karate Kid with powers, but bad. So don't you dare compare that to Karate Kid. I remember people actually thought that was going to get a sequel because they had I think like a post-credit scene of Piccolo recovering from his attack or whatever. No, it's just funny to go from like everybody universally hating that movie to just all of the worshiping I saw for the Broly film. Oh my God, it was so amazing and great and wonderful. I don't know. It's just at a certain point when people just praise something so blindly, I get disinterested. Like when you shower something with unanimous praise, uh, it turns me off from it. Like I still might like something, but it's going to make me a lot less interested in talking about liking that thing because it's an opinion that's being expressed by a whole bunch of other people who literally sound like the Borg from Star Trek. They're all saying the same thing. Like I really like the Cell Saga, but if everybody gets in and says, "Oh my God, the Cell Saga was so amazing, it was great, and it was the fun," like, okay, all right, I like it. We don't need everybody to pretend it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like that was me reading those reviews for the chapters of Super when it was coming out. Like they'll have a chapter and be like, okay, well that was all right, and they're like, oh my God, this was so amazing and it was entirely thought provoking. And like, all right, calm down. It's funny too because like some people will praise the art, which I don't think the art is bad at all in the manga. Um, and then on Twitter, there's a guy who made an entire account to crap on the artist that draws the super manga. Like his entire account is taking panels of the DB super manga and like arranging them in such a way as to say, "Oh, this is stolen from this, so this is stolen from that." And then when people are like, "Can you relax?" He's like, "No, you are children for not being able to notice this thing I am talking about." And he actually just sounds like a real life god of destruction, just from the way he talks about himself and responds to people who disagree with him. It's like, I have a higher intellect. I'm not able to do. If I wasn't like so desperate to not try and have arguments with people online, I would show you his page with just all this like different examples of stuff that he writes. You hate this man so much that you made your entire account based around talking about him. Oh my God. That by itself is just creepy and strange. And that's another like Dragon Ball specific weird thing I've seen. Like I've never seen somebody hate Naruto so much that they'll make like an entire account about bashing Kishimoto or whoever the current person is that's drawing Boruto. Like the only people that are crazy enough to do something like that are Dragon Ball fans. Jesus Christ. I don't know what that is. Like you hate somebody so much and you make your like his account's name is literally the guy's name, but with like a mean word in front of it. Like let's say I didn't like the director Michael Bay, the guy that does the Transformers movies, and I made an account called what's a good way of saying it? Michael can't make a film or something like that, where like his name is in the title and it's supposed to insult him. That's what he does. Except for the artist that does the super manga. And then you go on, you look at the people he's following, and one of them is the guy who does the super manga. That's why I said Twitter is like, I think Discord's a worse website, but Twitter's the only website I've seen with something that creepy. You follow the artist that you hate. I hate him so much that I must see and read everything he puts out. Anyways, getting back to this, I don't mean to go on a tangent. I just thought that was hilarious. It's really unfortunate that Dragon Ball has this kind of like thing with the forms where if you notice, the only one that will get used and isn't just used to get itself destroyed is Super Saiyan. Like it's the only form that's not the current strongest one that you'll see pop up from time to time. So like in Super, Even though Super Saiyan is weaker than the second form, the third form, God, Blue, Ultra Instinct, it still got used in the tournament of power when Goku was fighting at various points. And it's just crazy to me that this form that is literally the weakest of any of them still gets to pop up the most. Like it's hard for me to believe in a rational story they're going to be like, I'm not going to use my stronger forms like Super Saiyan 2. Now I'll just use the first one. Again, a lot of it has to do with just marketing and thinking, the iconic original form is the best one to keep popping up. Because really, after, in a lot of ways, Super Saiyan God and Blue are kind of like Super Saiyan 4 in the sense that they don't have a drawback. In a lot of, it's like after they show up, there's no reason to use the older forms. Other when you're playing with yourself, like when Goku uses Super Saiyan against Goku Black when they fight the first time, it only makes sense if you go off the logic of, oh, he wants to test how strong Black is. At least Naruto had better world building than DB. We know nothing about Earth and DBZ other than what's relevant to the plot. Naruto's Earth had an entire history. I could say the same thing about One Piece. They have an entire rich timeline of events. And I'm not even somebody that really cares about world building. But I would say the original Dragon Ball did a better job at explaining certain things. Like we found out about Master Roshi's past. We found out about, Kami and King Piccolo. So I think only when you start getting to Super, because see, the problem with Super is they introduce all of these different dimensions and universes, and they do nothing with them. Like you've got 12 different universes, and we've only been to Universe 7. And people keep saying, oh, they're going to have an arc where they go to Planet Sadala, and they're going to meet all the Universe 6 Saiyans. We're going to be so excited. It's like, keep on waiting. That's why I said if they treat the older characters like Piccolo and Gohan bad, they're going to treat the newer ones 10 times worse. That's what happens when you have a show that wants to suck off 2 characters and ignore everybody else. That's a side effect of that problem. I already talked about my problem with Naruto and what his name is. There's one character in that series. Every time he's on panel, I just want to close the book. And like I always make the case that he's so bad because with other shows, if they have a character that people consider annoying, they're usually not that big a part of it. But he's like, you have I'm supposed to sit through 700 episodes of that black-haired clown, and I'm like, I'm good. And we know exactly how chakra works in Naruto. DBZ has a clunky magic system because the power levels keep changing. Same thing with Devil Fruits in One Piece. Yeah, the only thing related to One Piece power levels I didn't like was the was hockey, which only starts up around the time the first half is closing out. If I remember correctly, I think the first instance we see it is on Amazon Lily. No, that's really just it when it comes to problems I have with that show. If you notice, Dragon Ball actually retcons itself. Like when the Battle of Gods movie came out, when Beerus fought Super Saiyan God Goku, apparently he was using 75% of his power. And then, which would mean that by the time he gets Ultra Instinct, he should be able to beat Beerus. But then apparently they're like, nah, that doesn't mean that actually is happening because they don't want to, end their own show already. Dragon Ball is the only show where that's the case, where they don't even know what they're gonna do with the characters. Just like, all right, this random thing happens. Here comes this god, and he's gonna show us how to get this transformation, and then Frieza's gonna appear out of nowhere after that, and then there's going to be this tournament with this other universe where there's no consequences, and then future Trunks is just going to pop up and oh my god. I never understood why Luffy needed hockey when rubber can naturally harden itself. I didn't understand why that series needed hockey. Because see, the thing I really liked about that show was that even characters who weren't set up as, the monster trio was Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. Even characters that aren't set up as being part of the stronger tier of the crew still can contribute in meaningful ways. And with hockey, it's kind of like Super Saiyan, except more readily accessible. Where if you don't have it, your usefulness to the story in terms of your powers just goes out the window. Yeah, that's just a really lame plot element. And a lot of people on this website love talking about it. But I said that before, that like power levels, hockey, all of it, you just throw it in the trash. If the writers want a character to be strong, they give one of those two things to them. So sitting here speculating about who has it and who might have it and who might get it, I just think it's a waste of time. Because hockey just literally came out of nowhere one day in the story. So they can do it for anybody they want. It's really insane. What was I gonna say? This one person said that for GT, it would have been cool if had like Gohan not been possessed by Baby, he tried to fight Baby as a Super Saiyan 3, and he was actually able to do more than Goku because he wasn't, and didn't have the kid body problem that Goku had, where they said that him being smaller made him not able to, I guess, hold on to Super Saiyan 3 for as long. That would have been really nice. Like if Super Saiyan 3 became the strongest form for Gohan in GT, but just so they can shoehorns Super Saiyan rip off power up. Oh come on, man! We didn't get the gear form until what, Ennis Lobby, and that was like what, 8, 9, 10 years into that series starting. So I don't know if I agree with that. And really, I don't mind ridiculously strong villains if they can be taken out in entertaining ways, like with the Wano arc where they're teaming up against Kaido. It looks like it's not just going to be Luffy shows up and beats this person, that they might actually have to fight as a team, which I welcome. That was one of the main things I really liked about Marineford, that you could realistically believe that even though Whitebeard was the strongest man in the world, it would take all these admirals to be able to take him out. Can introduce a new technique. Well, at least Luffy gets new techniques. But Goku's only technique is Kamehameha and instant transmission. How often do you see him use Solar Flare? Or like use any actual technique that's not those two or transforming? This is like Dragon Ball is the only show I've ever seen, only thing I've ever seen where characters have more forms than abilities. Oh my god! Just like with Vegeta, you never see him use Gallic Gun anymore. Hell, you never see him use. Well, Big Bang shows up occasionally, but like all they do now is just introduce more and more forms. They never learn any techniques. Like any criticism you can make of One Piece, you can apply it to Dragon Ball and just multiply it 10 times over. Oh, that's so awful. Me and non-binary are gonna have to duel. after he besmirched the great god of Oda. We're gonna have to have some heated debate. What was I gonna say about Super Saiyan 3? Yeah, I think for GT they should have done it like this. They should have given Goku Super Saiyan 4, Vegeta Super Saiyan 4, Gohan Super Saiyan 3, and Goten and Trunks Super Saiyan 2. Because really, like no form in that show other than Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 4 really got to shine at all. Like even before Baby, you don't really see Goku use Super Saiyan 3 to fight anybody. Like General Rildo. I do agree though. One Piece side characters are very interesting. Yeah, and I just think in general it handles its characters eons better than Dragon Ball. Like when Crocodile got beaten in Alabasta, I thought I'd never see him again, and then he showed up in Marineford as one of the members of Luffy's crew, and actually had an interesting dynamic because of their past antagonism. Oh yeah, I love Usopp. I remember in Thriller Bark when he fought Perona and she used the ghosts that are supposed to make you negative and it doesn't work on him because he's too negative. He's already filled up with doubts and the lack of confidence. Or when he pretended to be dead by laying in the pool of ketchup when they were fighting Arlong's crew. I just think Oda's a much more creative writer than the tag team Batman and Robin duo of Toriyama and Toyotaro, where all they do to make characters interesting is give them some power up, and then just keep sucking off the same two protagonists over and over again. But yeah, if anybody has anything else left to say, let me know because I think I've tapped myself out. I don't expect to see James again after this stream because I know he's probably going to go and hide after his president gets out of office in 2 days. His hero. He's going to retreat to the bunker. So that's why he hasn't written anything because he went over to the to his secret lair. All right, so if there's anything left to say, let me know. Because if you don't, you'll have to wait until Saturday. Yeah, I just think Super Saiyan 3 is a really nice looking, unique form that for whatever reason the writers choose to ignore. Well, I know the reason because they want to suck off the forms that they've made. And it's unfortunate because it adds a lot of stakes to the story. You know, the fact that it doesn't have a never ending, it has like a time limit on it. I'll wait until Saturday. He'll ask a question in the Biden era. And really, I wish they would just let Gohan use it because that whole ultimate transformation, like that thing has been lame ever since it was introduced. He got beat by Boo, he got beat by Beerus, he got beat by Frieza. He probably got smacked up by hitting like 2 seconds. But my point is that it would be nice to see them give it to at least him because it would be something new they could do with the character. Like of having a transformation that has a time limit on it and having to make the most with his powers. Like it would be really interesting if they made his character like antithetical to wanting to work with the gods. Like him thinking that becoming a god with one of the god forms is like a abstaining from his humanity. And then he like found a way to make Super Saiyan 3 as strong as those other forms, or to like compensate for a lack of strength. I think that would be really interesting. But for Dragon Ball to do something like that, I think hell would have to freeze over. So thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. I'll stream on Saturday with videos throughout the week. So see ya.